What's up, guys? I'm in the Reprice Aquarium in Canada, Toronto. It's pretty cool. I just got finished with the whole place, and I took a bunch of photos. So if you want to see photos of the animals, you can look in the description, and there's a link to a Facebook post that has a bunch of photos and stuff. I'm trying to take more photos because I got a fancy phone, and all I do with it is record videos, but the photo on it, the camera is even better than the video camera, so that's pretty awesome. The Udemy event yesterday was awesome. I'll do a video summarizing like everything, but I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what my takeaway was from it. So first off, I met 20 other Udemy instructors and 5 Udemy employees, right? So of those 20 instructors, the topics ranged from tarot card reading to programming to all sorts of different things. There were people who taught music, there were people who taught soft psychology skills, like just general people advice. There was a whole lot of variety there. It was really cool. And there were some key speakers there. So the 3 individuals who had little like seminars, essentially, they spoke in front of everybody. One of them emphasize the importance of having some kind of crash course for your Udemy course. So this is when you have essentially like a smaller demo of your course that has maybe like some content that's found in your main course, but not all of it, right? So just a little bit, a teaser, I guess. And this is something I've seen a lot, but I don't personally do. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, am I going to make like free small versions of all of the courses that I offer and then have paid much bigger versions? Or am I going to do something on another website? Because the trouble with having a free course on Udemy is that free reviews are incredibly critical. And in general, they're also much less likely to engage. So that was something that I asked some Udemy staff how they felt about free courses, and they told me that on one hand, it is really easy to get signups with a free course, but on the other hand, it's just not the best for your analytics of the course. And I was told specifically by the Udemy staff people there that they don't recommend that you have free courses unless you have to. So essentially, if you don't have an audience, then you might want to use free courses for a while until you have an audience, but then convert all of your courses over to paid course. All the Udemy staff that I spoke to said that ultimately it is better for you as an instructor for all of your courses to be paid, but you won't be able to have any traction if you just start off in the very beginning without a YouTube channel, without some kind of Facebook audience, and without some starting point, essentially. So in that case, then you kind of do have to use free courses. But to give you guys some insight, like in my case, when I have one free course, or had one free course, it's no longer free. And what I found is that like when I launched that course, got hundreds of signups in the first day. I was blown. I thought that was really good. But what's really happening is that there's a whole bunch of people who just hoard and collect free Udemy courses. So they see that your course is available and they just snatch it up, and very few of these people ever actually use the course. So this isn't good for your analytics. So you really want to be careful. If you are thinking about having a free course, it's generally better to have a paid course and then to give away free coupons for your course than it is to just have a free course alone, right? So first there's this concept of crash courses, which is what I just talked about. And then Udemy kind of shared that how I feel about free courses in general. I have good reason to feel that way. Other instructors kind of shared that they had similar experiences. However, then there were also a couple really big instructors there, and every time they release a course, they start out as it free, and then they keep generating it more, working on it, and then they convert it into a paid course. And so that's how they function. But there's also a lot of kind of resentment towards free courses shared by other instructors who shared how intense some of the reviews were, how people would get their course and then they wouldn't read anything, and then they would leave like a half-star review that says something like, oh, and that's it. Like, it doesn't even say why. Or you get a review that's like 1 star and it's like, oh, I thought that this course was about microeconomics, but it's literally nothing to do with that. And the user just had some wrong impression, failed to educate themselves, and then is blaming you in a way that affects your revenue, right? So that can be really frustrating. And it very much is true that free users are much more critical. I had an experience myself where there was an opportunity to be more judgmental of me because I have a course, right? And I don't actively dropship anymore, but my course is about dropshipping. So that's quite controversial, right? Or at least it can be. And what I found is that the people who pay me for my information don't care and are way more supportive, whereas the people who get my information for free are more critical. And this is kind of a reality of how humans work. And this is, again, something that Udemy staff said to me, that when people pay, they are more supportive. And this is kind of a contradiction because you would expect it to be the opposite way, right? So aside from that, another thing that they recommended, or that the other speakers spoke about, was about about hosting webinars. So essentially, it's kind of like a crash course, very similar, except it's a live event. So you're like, all right, in 3 weeks, I'm going to have this webinar, and you need to address a specific problem in the webinar, but without showing the whole entire course, obviously, because then who's going to want to watch it, right? And so that was another tactic that was shared, was to just host webinars every couple of months and then to direct that traffic from those webinars towards your Udemy course. Because essentially, anytime you bring in your student, you get 97% of the revenue. Whereas when Udemy itself brings in the student, you only get like 20 to 50%, depending on if there's affiliates involved and that kind of thing, right? So the other thing that they talked about was Facebook marketing, and specifically finding Facebook groups about your subject matter and joining them to market your course. But you can't just join and share. Usually self-promotion isn't allowed. So the strategy that the one guy used was to join a Facebook group related to his course subject and then spend 30 days answering people's questions and not saying anything about the fact that he had a course, developing a reputation in the community and being useful. And then after that, reaching out to the moderators and admins, asking if he can give away free coupons to his course, and that kind of thing. So essentially what he did is get involved with the community and then get permission to share the information. Because there's a lot of these kind of communities where you yourself can't advertise, but other people can vouch for you. And what you're going to find is that when other people are recommending you, then people are just more likely to listen to them versus when you yourself are saying something, right? So those were kind of my takeaways, was learning about webinars, Facebook stuff, and crash courses. And so I'm still not sure how exactly I'm going to apply these things, because essentially I have the dropshipping course is doing all right. That's where most of my income comes from. So I'm not too interested in pushing that, especially because I don't dropship at the moment, so I don't really want to like push it heavily. But I'm really proud of the YouTube course. I think I did a really good job on that, and that barely gets any signups, and I have no marketing towards it whatsoever. And one of the reasons it doesn't really get signups is because I don't have a reputation on YouTube for showing people how to start YouTube channels. I have a reputation on YouTube for doing videos about emotions and my life and traveling and dropshipping. These are the things, right? So I'm trying to develop more of a reputation as making YouTube content, and the way to do this is to make more videos on YouTube about making YouTube videos. And so essentially, one of the things that I'm thinking about is, instead of having crash courses, why don't I make more free YouTube videos specific to like problems that people face? I need to figure out how to make videos that are relevant and useful to people interested in making a YouTube channel, so then people can learn about me that way and then find the YouTube course. Because right now, the YouTube course earns like 5% of what the dropshipping course earns. It's like nothing. Like, I've earned $100 from the YouTube course since I published it like 3 or 4 months ago, whereas the dropshipping course regularly gets me at least $1,000 a month. So the dropshipping course does way, way, way better. And of the income that I receive, about 2/3 of it is from self-promotion through YouTube. And that's essentially because I get 97% of that $20 cost, right? When somebody goes through my YouTube link. Whereas if they look at Udemy and they find my course that way, I only get like $2 or $3 for the sale of the course. So it's much more beneficial for me to sell it through YouTube. I do get more signups through Udemy. Like I have more Udemy students from Udemy than I do from my YouTube channel, but I earn more money from the fewer Udemy students because I get a higher cut of that, right? So I figured I'd just share with you guys what I learned from the Udemy Meetup. I encourage anybody who's interested in Udemy to go to one of these. There is something about the momentum that you get from meeting other like-minded people, sharing ideas with them. It's not so much that you're gonna learn some secret that's gonna change everything. It's more about it opening your eyes a bit and giving you connections, right? I made eye contact, shook the hands with, and talked to every single individual at this event. And the act of doing that, like now I have some contacts, I have people who I know what courses they teach. So if I wanted to get those courses and learn from them, I could probably get like some kind of deal, that kind of thing. And in general, it's more about the energy that you get. Like I got back from this event and I had like 6 things that I can work on next, like tasks or things to research, right? And I also had the motivation and desire to do those things. And that kind of comes from interacting with the people, right? So I encourage you guys to do anything possible to look in the eyes of other people doing what you want to do. It's really, really beneficial, and it's one of the healthiest decisions that you can make. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.